All right, welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. I apologize for the late start. I'm still trying to figure out some stuff with this new PC. So I want to do an experiment today, which it looks like we will be able to do. But that required copying all my files over from the laptop over to the PC. And it took forever. I didn't realize how big the save files are. They're huge. Um, that's why I don't include the minor leagues or the history anymore. But I think some of the older Sims still have that stuff, so they're pretty big. Anyway, I had to get them over onto the PC, then figure out where they go. And then I had turned it off. Oh, Tokyo Gunship said, got your packs from the Wheelspin, got a Commodore Bill Lee. That's awesome. Congratulations. And Death from I think you were the first one in. Weird things happen around the holidays, I guess. Um, so anyway, I then this is probably the mistake I made. In the game, I changed the path. I changed the custom data path. This thing. And I was like, oh, that was wrong. So I changed it back. But when I changed it back, I lost all my views. So far, that's the only thing I've noticed. I may have lost other things, but I lost all my views, like all my batter and pitching views. So I'm gonna have to replace those at some point. I might actually replace those at the end of the stream, in case people want to see my views. I can point them to the VOD. Um, and I've got to do them anyway, so I might as well do them on stream. So anyway, I think I have the um, experimental sandbox that we use for our experiments. So if that's the case, then we can do tonight's experiment. So normally we start with a 10-pack giveaway form, but tonight I'm going to start with the opening the quick start just to make sure we're going to do this. All right, we're looking for the average league. Quick start 16. This will be good pitching shapes. Pitcher. Got to keep the following small. Pitcher shapes VO1. Okay, let's see if this works. If it does, we'll start doing the pack giveaway form. All right, looks like it worked. Okay, so let's do the pack giveaway form. Hey, Smiley Face Jane, welcome in. Geez, my keyboard is really loud in the microphone. I don't think it was that loud before I switched computers. All right, let me find a similar experiment we can use the form for. I'm gonna search for attributes. I know we did a pitching attributes test that might be good for this. Oh, going all the way back to episode 115. All right, let's copy this one. This looks okay. All right. Maybe I'll take the title and then I'll put it up on the screen. This is what we're doing tonight. We're testing the shape. What pitching shapes are better or worse? Okay. And so what that -1 plus 2 means is if you think of the three pitching attributes that I think people tend to agree are most important this cycle: stuff, home run suppression, and control. Now, I'm not saying PBAP is not important, but I think it's been shown pretty consistently to be less important in this cycle. Now, I know I was discussing with a few people, I think Smiley Face Jane was one of them, that PBAP, at least in my experience and in my leagues, it does appear to be becoming more relevant. Um, Early in the cycle, it really was like it didn't matter. I am now finding that like who's the gold card? Oh, I'll look it up right now. There's a gold card. Oh, I'm gonna save. Let me look over here. Actually, maybe someone in the chat knows. Is it Herman Marquez? There's a gold card that's got like super high home run suppression and super high control, and really low PBABIP. Yeah, okay, that sounds like his profile. I've noticed that pictures like that, and there are a bunch. Like the Diamond Randy Johnson is like that too. Those pitchers are now getting touched up with base hits. Yeah, so higher HRA control and really bad PBABIP. That profile worked for a long time, and I'm noticing now that those profiles are getting touched up. Their whips are increasing, their ERAs are increasing, and I think it was just less sensitive. So it's the same reason why earlier in the cycle you could get away with like um who's the guy in the Angels, the first baseman who had really high PBABIP but super low control, Sano. You could play Sano early in the cycle because his PBABIP was high, his avoid K was terrible, but there were so few high stuff pitchers that the avoid K wasn't as important. But as the cycle went on and more high stuff pitchers came into the game, I noticed that I had to shift my focus from PBABIP, which doesn't factor in avoid K, and start looking at contact, which does factor in PBAB avoid K. So I think maybe what's happening now is in the same way as more contact hitters are entering the game, high contact hitters are entering the game. It could be that PBABIP is now finally reaching that level where it's hitting the threshold of sensitivity. Um, because for the first even month or two of the game, you could play Sano and be fine. But after a few months, as more high stuff pitchers came in, because also Sano's facing like Tewksbury and Conseguera, right, and all these pitchers with low stuff. or Consuegra, Sandy Consuegra, right? All these pitchers with like 29, 28 stuff. So that low stuff isn't going to trigger the low avoid K. Well, in the same way, I think whatever cards are coming out now are finally starting to trigger that low PBABIP in these cards that played before. Anyway, long story short, in watching people play low ball creator roster the last few days, and this was a benefit of actually having voice in the stream, because I got to hear what people were thinking as they were making their picks. And it definitely seemed like some people were like, if I want a bad pitcher, I want low stuff. And other people like, if I want a bad pitcher, I want low home run suppression. And then there's another group that are like, if I want a bad pitcher, I want low control. Now, those are probably all valid perspectives. I mean, any of those being bad is bad for the pitcher. But I wanted to see which one is worse for the pitcher. So now normally we test things by going all the way up to 550, but tonight I want to test things by making it look more like creator roster. So if the average profile is 50s, which is how we have set things up, for each team I want all the pitchers to have one trait be minus 20, and then the other two traits be plus 10. So one team will have a bad stuff pitching staff. All their pitchers will have stuff of 30, which is minus 20. And their home run suppression and their control will be 60. So one trait is minus 20. The other traits are plus 10, plus 10. Then the next team will have 60 stuff, 30 home run suppression, 60 control. And then the third team will have 60 control, 60 home run suppression, 30 control. And we're going to leave one team all 50s. And we're going to see which of those teams is going to give up more runs. It might be the control. Maybe a flat profile is the worst. But for each person who has one of those preferences, then we can show like how good is that preference at nerfing your team's pitching staff. This is mostly a low ball inspired experiment, but you could take the same findings and say let's say in Perfect Team you're in a draft and you're like, okay, I either have to take a guy with bad stuff or bad control. Maybe this experiment helps you make that decision. And the reason I think this won't work with PBABIP is all the batters are average. And I think what's happening in Perfect Team is there are more and more better hitters coming into the universe. And so those low PBABIP pitchers are finally getting exposed. It's hard to replicate that in our experiments. Now, one thing we could do is we redo this experiment again. We include PBABIP, and we boost all the hitters, the contact rating of all the hitters. But with moderation off, it should work. But anyway, that's a different problem. Let's get to tonight's pack giveaway form. I hope the intent of the experiment was clear, though. I'm trying to test out these different shapes that we've been encountering in Creator Roster and see which one actually is the worst. So tonight's experiment we will not be raising ratings up to 550, the maximum in OOTP 25. Instead, we will be recreating the kinds of profiles, picture profiles, we've been seeing in lowball create a roster to see which ones are worse and which ones are better. Okay, we'll use the 4+4 completely average league. All starting, we'll have the same. Okay, we'll have two pitching attributes increased by 10 to 60. This is on the 20 to 80 scouting scale. And one attribute lowered to 30. Since all pitchers are average, and their ratings are all 50s, they are all getting the same net change of 0. One team will remain average and be the control team. Hey Foxhill, I'm doing an experiment tonight to see which lowball creator roster profile actually is the worst. So low stuff. Stuff equals 30. HRA equals 60. Control equals 60. Low HRA. Stuff equals 60. HRA equals 30. Control equals 60. And then low control. Stuff equals 60. HRA equals 60. Control equals 30. And then the control team. Oh, control is confusing because there's a low control team. I'll call it the average team. Experimental control. Stuff equals 50. HRA equals 50. Control equals 50. Okay. Stuff can be increased several ways. In this experiment, by increase from velocity. Then increasing fastball. Then increasing curveball. or lowered until stuff view rating equals 30. Okay. Okay, this part is important. I was asked by OOTP developments to re-emphasize this for people who are new to my stream and maybe new to Perfect Team. When you have a pack giveaway, whether it's in my stream or other streams, it's very important that you do the capitalization of your OOTP username correctly. Because they have to process a lot of these, and if the capitalization is not correct, then they have to manually search for the right capitalization to make sure you get your packs. And what I don't want to have happen is they get annoyed enough with us that they say, okay, if it's not right, we're not looking it up anymore, and you're not going to get your packs. So it would be helpful for everybody, not just in my stream, but all people winning packs, if each of us could then be just a little diligent about making sure the capitalization on our OOTP usernames is correct. Now, in this Twitch username, you can capitalize it however you want. I only use this for the stream to see who's winning. But this OOTP login ID, it's very important that they be capitalized right. So, yeah, please don't do that unless that's how it is in your OTP. So anyway, that's my PSA on behalf of OTP developments. It will keep us in their good graces and keep us getting pack giveaways. Okay, so let's edit these questions. Which team will surrender the fewest runs? A regular season team low stuff, team low movement, team low control, average team. I should also say HRA is actually low movement. In the base game, it's called movement. Oh, there's another thing that's important to note here. The AL and NL will be set up, the 4 teams in the AL and NL will be set up the same. At the end of the sim, we will combine data for each team across leagues. So team low stuff data will be AL team low stuff plus NL team low stuff data. So we're basically going to get 2 sets of information that we're going to just cram together. It should help us. It should help us nerf any idiosyncratic data. Basically, like it should. What if there's some issues with some coin flips in one sim? Hopefully, the other sim should help kind of normalize for that. So yeah, it says for team totals to be the combined of the AL and NL versions of that team. Oh, and this rule has changed. Winners will split the packs. Three standard packs for second place. And as we saw from Tokyo Gunship, you can win good stuff even with just a few packs. All right. So, which team will score the fewest? Will surrender the fewest regular season runs? And I think the flip side of that is which team will surrender the most? Um, and then let's do some. I think that's really the only question, right? Like, which team is better? um, and which team is worse? Because that's what we care about. I mean, we could try to sort out which is second best and. But no, I think that'll be enough. And let's put in some numerical questions here. Um, what will be the lowest team ERA across all the teams? So not combining AL and NL data. And this will just be a number. You'll guess like 5.00 or something closer to the actual answer. How many home runs will be surrendered? Lowest regular season home runs will be surrendered by the single team giving up the most home runs. And let me give you a major league average on that. I'm looking up in BREF right now. Okay, 2023 Major League average was 196. And the average ERA where is ERA? Oh, here it is. 4.33. Let me read what single team ERA. Okay. And then let's do the same for strikeouts and walks. Oh, these short answer. How many regular season strikeouts will be thrown by the single team striking out the most batters? And the MLB average for that was 1395. And then how many regular season walks? And the MLB average for that was 527. Okay, that should be enough tiebreakers. All right. Let me make sure the types of questions are correct. This is multiple choice. This is multiple choice. This is gone. This is short answer, short answer, short answer, short. Yeah, okay. I think we're good. All right, hopefully this will be a fun pack giveaway form. I'm really interested to see the results because I think it might help people play creator roster better. Let's put the game back up. Okay. And I'll put this in the chat. Okay, good luck everybody. All right, we're gonna start. First, we always rename the team so I know what edits I'm making. Okay, so the order on in the form is low stuff, so LSTU, low movement, L move, low control. Oh, I forgot. There's 2 leagues. So this is actually average league low stuff, average league low movement, average league low control, and average league average. That's confusing. It's still better than I was calling them the control team because of the experimental control. That would have been super confusing. Neutral league low stuff. Neutral league low movement. Neutral league low control. And average. Okay, so now when we go up here, if I just change this and go back in, now they're all set up. Okay, well, these are easy. Average, 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 average. Don't have to be changed at all. Low control. And again, this isn't just low control, right? It's low control and slightly boosted. Because we're shooting for... these to be... Oh, movement's 55. Okay. That's because we need to... split out HRI and PBABIP. Which are also 55. Okay, that's interesting. So we're gonna boost them to... we'll either boost them to 65 or we'll take them down to 35. I wonder why that is. The goal was to make them all 50. Let me see something real quick. If I make all these 400, right now he's 50. So 125 is actually a little... 124 is actually above. See, 125, I took the midpoint. Okay, so a little change to what's in the form. Instead of going from 50 to 60 or 50 to 30, it's going to go from 55 to 65 or 55 to 35 for movement only. I don't know why I did that. That's weird. Yeah, Foxel is alluded to a little bit in the form, but normally we go up to 550 on everything. But when you get that extreme, we're really just testing the boundaries of the simulation. On this one, I actually wanted to simulate the kinds of options we get in the creator roster pools. So we normally go to 80. It's normally 20, 80, 80. But we're doing it a little differently today because we're testing something very specific. Okay, so I think one of the things we're going to do in an upcoming stream is we're just going to update the entire quick start to get all the movements down to 50. I don't know why I would have chosen 55. The intent was for everything to be 50. That's very weird. But for now, I don't want to change the entire quick start without. Well, I mean, I guess I could. It'd just be a hassle. Now, we'll do that as a whole stream. We'll do some pack giveaways that stream, and we'll do some wheel spins. Because I do want to see what this experiment yields. Okay, so control is easy to take down. We just have to take it down until this view rating equals 30. Wow, 300 is too high. 200 is too high. Okay, this gives you a sense of 30 is pretty bad. All right, we'll go 150, 150. I'm going to make note of that. So control 150, 150. That gives us 30. And movement, I need to boost to 65. So for movement, we're looking over here. HRA and movement, we're looking. Oh, that's way too high. All right, 460 and 460 gets us to 65. And we're looking for the HRA to be 65. So we're okay with that. Okay, so $460 and $460 equals 65. And then this is the trickiest part, is getting the stuff down or up. And this one we're trying to get the SP stuff up to this view rating up to 50. You see though, this is where you know there's a bullpen boost, because if you take the same picture and put them in the bullpen, their stuff would be 55. All right, so trying to get this to 60. Oh, actually, if we can do it with velo alone, that would be great. There we go. So velo is 60, 96 and 98. Okay, so that's, we need to make that change to every picture. So velo goes to 96. Movement goes to 460. And control goes down to 150. Oops, not 15. Oh, shoot. Oh, real quick, I'm gonna check out I noticed that None of my VODs for the last two days have had audio. So I'm going to try to make a clip here and see if I can hear the audio in the clip. Okay. Okay, it looks like it is now saving the audio. Which is a bummer because that means there's no audio for that clip of me saying, "Oh, this would be great if this was a 103 Glavin," and I pulled a 103 Glavin. Tokyo Gunship, if you missed the time of the dev stream by 2% for the last pack. Yeah, that sucks when that happens. A lot of times, like on Tuesdays, you can catch TJ at night. On Thursdays, you can usually catch the replay at night. But on the other days, you're just kind of stuck. Cacking Santa asks, for the low ball that we did, is that created random team file available? Do I save the files teams from our... So I save all the I have all the game saves, the season saves. So they are available. Um, according to OTP developments, I've asked on the forums. I wanted to be able to export teams from all of our saves and then import them into others because I wanted to do a league of all of our lowball teams. But I was told that that's not possible. I was told that you can't export fictional player teams into other saves. So if that's what you're asking, my understanding from asking on the forums and hearing back from the developers is that that's not possible. Now I've had other people tell me there's like a complicated way you could do it, where you export it as a text file, and then you have to know like where to cut the text file to like then paste those parts into another text file. So I guess my understanding was you would export, let's say, the 2022 MLB data file into a giant text file, and then we would take our creator roster save rosters and export that as a giant text file. And then if you know what you're doing, you can cut out the right pieces to bring those players over. But there isn't an easy way to do it. So Tokyo Gunship is asking, besides playing a historical game every 72 hours, is there any other ways to play the games for perfect point or pack rewards besides missions? So yeah, so you're referring to one of the ways, which is if you play challenge mode, every few days you can win a pack by playing challenge mode. You also get free packs by logging in every day. And your team earns perfect points by reaching achievements in league play. The only other ways I know of to earn packs are drops from streams, pack giveaways from streamers, and winning tournaments. Oh, Smiley Face Jane says drive for the pennant. Okay, but yeah, I'm in the same boat. I don't know if that's I don't know if you can double up. I don't know if you can double up on drive for the pennant and challenge mode. But yeah, for those of you who don't know what Tokyo Gunship is talking about, if you play challenge mode, and the most common thing people do is they play the 27 Yankees. And if you quick sim it, or just play it, if you want to play it. But you can quick sim it every few days. And if your team does well enough, you'll get a pack as a reward. And most people use the 27 Yankees because you're pretty much guaranteed to get the pack if you use them. In fact, I did it one time, and like it on March 14th, I was already awarded a pack. I've never had it happen sooner than that. Yeah, it was a standard pack. Okay, so what was I doing? Oh yeah, I was. Okay, so this picture's done. '96 to '98, 460, and one fit. Oops. Oh, one thing I need to make sure is are the modifiers off? Yes, they are. Okay. Okay. What did I say in the form? Did I say I'm just going to do the starting pitchers or all the pitchers? Oh, I said all the starting pitchers. Okay. Okay, good. So I don't have to do the whole pitching staff. That might impact your guesses too. It is if you look here, I'll show you in the form. It says all of the starting pitchers for each team. All right, so the bullpens will remain average. Which is typically how we do this. But we are doing the 6 starter because we said all starting pitchers. That's the other thing. I'm not sure why I did that. In hindsight. In fact, you know what? We're gonna do that. Early in January, which is next week. I'm gonna do a average league cleanup stream where you fix all these things that are little quirks of the average league that we've kind of uncovered over time. Okay, so stuff is boosted to 60, home run suppression is boosted to 65, and control is down to 30. So plus 10, minus 20. That looks exactly like we described. That's awesome. So now we'll do the same for the low control Phillies. Dusty Mound. This name, all the names still crack me up. This is named by Clay Dog. It seems like forever ago that we were renaming these players. Actually, I have a bunch of renames from I think from Kayaking Santa in that we haven't processed yet. I will process those when we do the average league reset. And then the other thing to look forward to is in the new cycle, when OOTP 26 comes out, one of the first things we're going to do when we get the new game is create the average league in the new game and start doing experiments trying to figure out what has changed in the new game. So I think one thing that people noticed right away was in PT24, PBABIP was overpowered. And I think people noticed the reverse this cycle, that PBABIP hardly mattered. And then people also noticed pretty early on that BABIP for hitters was king. And so that's the kind of thing we're hoping to figure out early in the cycle next time by doing some experiments. Now, I do think in Perfect Team, it's going to be exposed faster by the modelers who take the tournament data and they play lots of quick tournaments to generate data, and then they crunch the data. I think they were really on top of things, figuring out the PBABIP and BABIP thing this cycle. We're figuring out for the base game, which doesn't necessarily translate to Perfect Team. But it might still be helpful, so we're still going to do it. Foxville, I don't know that there's a date yet, but my understanding is it's usually in mid-March. All right, next team is the low movement team. Your boss needs more specific dates for PTO. That's amazing. I also did take off of work for the launch day. I usually take off of work for the first 2 full days of NCAA tournament, and I take off now. This is the first year I was playing Perfect Team at the launch, but I'm going to be taking off for Perfect Team launch. Okay, so now this team is low movement, so the stuff still gets boosted. Now we need to figure out how to lower this down so the HRA is 35. Well, it's pretty close. 250 it is. $250. Oh, wait. We're trying to get to 45. $300 is a little too low. $325. All right, $350. I like the rounder numbers, so. And this has to be boosted to 60. Oh, wait, no. It's not 45. I was lowering it 20 from 60. Sorry, I do need to go to 35. I do need to go to 35. So 250. 250 it is. And then control, I have to boost that to 60. 450 it is. Okay, so we got that. Okay. For road move is 250. 450. Okay, so let's take a look at this team. 60, 65, 30 control. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. This is coming together nicely. Oh, and I already did this team. Okay. All right, now the low movement team. Oh, wait, I already did this? Wait a second. Did I do the Mets? No. Oh, wait, this is weird. Hold on. Low control, check. Low control Phillies, check. Low movement athletics, check. Low movement Mets. Okay, up next. Okay. Okay. Wait a second. Is that enough? There should be 6. Okay, yeah, all 6 got it. Okay. Oh, see, only... Where's the other one? There should be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is this the other one? Yeah, okay, this is average starting pitcher 1. Okay. I should do it for this team. Make sure there's 6 on every team. Yeah, okay. All right, the low stuff team is last. Now, can we just nerf their velo to get them to stuff. We're trying to get down to 30. No, it's not going low enough. So we kind of bottom out at 88.90. Because even if you go way lower, oh, you can get to 40 with that. And then we nerf the fastball. Well, that didn't do anything. Nerf the curveball. Well, that didn't do anything at all. Should we go to the changeup? Actually, let's do all the pitches first. All right, there we go, 30. So velo, the stuff nerfing is the hardest. Velo. $84 to $86. And all pitches 200. That gets us down to 30. Now it shouldn't matter because we have development turned off, but I'm going to change the potential too, just in case. Okay, and then raw movement needs to be boosted to 460. And control needs to be boosted to 450. Okay. 84 to 86, and then 200s. Raw movement is 460, and control is 450. Okay, velo is down to 84 to 86. The pitches go down to 200. Raw movement goes up to 460. And control is 450. $84 to $86, 200s. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens here. And I'm kind of glad I'm not in your position because if I had to guess, I don't know what I would guess. I really don't know. After I close the forums, I will give you my gut feel. Okay. 60, 65, 30s. Oh wait, sorry. Oh, we missed a starter somehow. Alright, this is why we check. Okay. All right. I don't know why it keeps taking me back to this Mariners team. Here's the Mets. The sixth one is down here. Oh, wait a second. Movement. Why is this movement 45? Oh, that's right. Because oh yeah, sorry. HRA is 35. Movement is a composite. That's right. That's correct. Angels 30, 65, 60. Minus 5 face chance is -5 for being on the Mets. I'm a jerk for making you guess a hard experiment. It is kind of hard. It is kind of jerky. But that's why we need an experiment, because all these people were on doing creator roster. All of their approaches sound reasonable, and I started to wonder, like, what's actually the truth? And so anytime we encounter that, we do an experiment. And it is, while I enjoy playing the community games, it is fun to get back to doing an experiment. We do have Max LP 80 playing the original creator roster again on Thursday. If I could get the support to do both, I probably would do it. If I if I were retired and I didn't have like stuff to do with the kids, like going to their games and stuff, I could I could easily see myself playing this game all day. Because when I used to have days off, when I was single, I would I would often start playing base game in the morning, especially if like the weather was bad and and there wasn't really anything going on. I could easily play all day, and that was pre Twitch. That's you. That's awesome. Yeah. So now with Twitch and an audience and packs to give away, I could easily see myself doing that. I think the thing is though, if I were independently wealthy and could do that, I kind of think I wouldn't do that though, because then I'd travel. Semi-retired at 40 and a gaming laptop in Thailand. That's awesome. Need to force yourself to go to the gym sometimes. Yeah, right now, work and family stuff basically serve as mechanisms to keep me from just like fusing to my chair and just playing this game 24/7. So that's a good thing. I could easily see myself just getting sucked into this all the time. Because I played this game a lot before I got hooked on Perfect Team. Now that I'm hooked on Perfect Team, it's like there aren't enough hours in the day. Slyface says, I vow that I will not play my baseball numbers game more than, say, 8 hours a day. I think, legit, if not for family, right, I could work 8 hours a day, play this game 8 hours a day, and then sleep 8 hours a day. To Fufak's point, I would need to fit in gym somewhere to keep from dying. Okay. See, yeah, every time I go back to this screen, it takes me back to the Mariners instead of the team I was just editing. 30, 65, 60. 6 of them, that's correct. 30, 65, 60. Yeah. They're separated down here, but 60, 35, 60. 60, 35, 60. Oh, you're right, Smiley Facing. That is exactly why. That is why. All right, these teams are untouched. Okay, we're good to go. Let's save the mailbox settings real quick. And unfortunately, these do not get saved as part of the quick start. But I'm going to save this as a quick start in case you want to go back and do this again. We'll call it picture shapes. All teams have one attribute. Why is this window so weird? Why can I only see like half of a line? Lowered by 20. One pitching attribute. The other two boosted by 10. And those are stuff, HRA, control. All right, so we should be good to go. And this is a good time for me to do the 3-minute ad roll and refill my water and stuff. Consider this your fair warning to complete your pack giveaway form as well. And I'll see you in a few minutes. Sorry, that took me a little longer than expected. I had to put some leftovers away in the kitchen. Hang on a second, I got a little problem with my headphones here. Yeah, AW. I think Smiley Face Jane referenced this too, but I was saying earlier, if I had to do this pack giveaway contest, I'm not sure I would know what to put. All right, so I'm going to close the form unless there are any objections if anyone's about to hit submit. And again, this comes directly from OOTP developments. Please be careful with your capitalization on your OOTP ID so we can get your packs properly. All right, I'm going to close the form and share the initial guesses up on the screen. Give me a minute here to resize everything. Oops, I'm going to hide all three of these. Sorry. Please hold. Okay. Okay, we always hold off the numerical guesses until after the sim, which means we only have two columns to share right now. Okay, which team will surrender the fewest regular season runs? So this is interesting. 3 people think the average team, which is unchanged, will actually end up with the best pitchers. Which, so if you believe that, that means any trait being that far below average will undermine your pitching, even if you have other traits that are higher to balance it, which I think is a valid perspective. Next up, we have 2 teams with low stuff. And I know that's been something we've been seeing in Perfect Team later in the cycle. That low stuff pitchers now are getting hit pretty hard, even if they have other ratings in their favor. And then we have 2 for low movement. So that's giving up home runs. What's interesting is that we don't have any for low control. So the reason I would have had a hard time guessing this is because we are in an average batting environment as well. So earlier in the cycle of Perfect Team, I would have said the low HRA team would be the worst. And part of that was because there are lots of power I batters in the card set. So you run into power more than you ran into contact. And so I would have said HRA. Now that we're in this part of the cycle, it does seem like stuff is catching up as being important. But I think I would still go with low HRA, even though in some of these creator roster lowball teams, we have seen these low stuff batters get crushed, even though they have good HRA. With the low stuff, they still give up lots of home runs. AW, I knew you'd be excited to see that we're doing some non 550 stuff. I think AW has a legit concerned that if you do take things to 550, those edge cases might not be as illuminating as being closer to the middle. But it does sound like in Foxhill Dim, I have an ally for going to 550. Because AW, you weren't here yet, but Foxhill was asking, why aren't you going to like 2070? And my reply was, well, that's what we usually do. But in fact, we usually go to beyond 80. But this is specifically this idea came specifically from watching people do low ball, and the low ball profiles are just not that extreme. I mean, they're extreme on the low end, but they're not 550. Okay, and then which team will surrender Oh wait, sorry, I had this backwards. No, no, that's right. No, no, wait, I had this backwards. All these votes are the fewest regular season runs. Okay. So let me flip my critique, my descriptions then. The people who respond in average team think a flat profile will actually perform the best. And we have seen evidence of this in perfect team, right? Like the who's that iron perfect game card? People seem to be playing that and not getting crushed. It's like, yeah, Humber. It's like 65s across the board. Um, the Ron Guidry bronze is kind of like that. He's got more stuff, but the rest of his profile is super flat. So I could see an argument for, okay, not having any holes in your profile leads to a better outcome. So people who are saying the low stuff team will give up the fewest runs are saying, okay, low stuff, but you're giving me a boost in home run suppression and a boost in control. That will make up for the low stuff. The low movement folks are interesting because I think in PT25, I think a lot of the focus has been you've got to have HRA. So I will be curious to see how this group does. The ones that guessed the team low movement would give up the fewest runs. Now they could also be seeing what I've been noticing, which is the low stuff is getting crushed more. But this isn't a neutral batting environment, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Okay, now the team that will surrender the most runs. This is surprising. There's a lot. For the majority, think the low control team will give up the most runs. And then the second most is low stuff. Now, low stuff, again, I see that happening late cycle. I'm really surprised no one said low movement would give up the most runs because that seemed to be the consensus early in perfect team this cycle. So Foxhill Dim is saying too many free bases, so that would be definitely supporting low control here. I have the same same kind of thinking on low control as I do on having a lineup that's all on base percentage based, that's all I based. Is eventually you have to drive in those runs, and it's hard to walk in that many runs. And so I do have I players on my teams, but I usually put them at the front of the lineup, and I make sure I have BABIP and power guys to drive them in. It will be interesting, like, if walking that many players is enough to overcome what the other teams are giving up. Yeah, the low stuff is the only one that's represented in both columns. Yeah. Foxhill's right. 2 have them as the fewest runs, 3 have them as the most runs. No, 4 have them as the most runs. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, low stuff. Three is the most runs, 2 is the fewest runs. Yeah. So we're going to learn a lot tonight, I think. This will be fun. All right. The first thing we're going to do, since the forms are locked now, is, and I did do the quick start, we can roll it forward a day. I saved the quick start so we can always redo this if we have to. Now, that initial setup was quicker because we only have 8 teams. But now we can go to reports and preseason predictions. Okay, the AI is predicting that low stuff is going to give up the most runs. And team average is going to give up the fewest runs. And this should be similar here. Okay, this is interesting though. The teams are exactly the same. But look at the gap here between third and fourth place. 838 to 917. Here it's 840 to 850. Yeah, low control is going to give up 859 walks. Up here, they're going to give up 881. But this is interesting. Theoretically, these teams should be identical. Now, this makes you wonder if I set something up incorrectly. Let me go check the low stuff average Braves real quick. And make sure they're set up properly. Oh, their stuff is supposed to be 30. So I did that incorrectly. So that was a good catch. The AI caught us there. So let's load the quick start. And we'll change it before we roll it forward today. And we'll name this Pitcher Shapes VO2. AW says I get a boost because of duck bread, which is one of the pitchers that AW named. Okay, I'm glad we caught that. So now we can change that. So this one should be correct. This is a correct one. 30s. And on the Braves... Wait. Which team had it incorrect? They're both correct on this one. That's so weird. How did that happen? Was it my... Did you guys also see 30? 35? Did you not see 35 when I thought the Braves had 35s here. All right, I'm gonna look at a clip of this. I think I'm going insane. Oh, the clip starts with me. No, it already starts with me doing the. Okay, the clip starts too late. It starts with me already doing the. Shoot. Does OTP not? No, there are ways to turn down the sound. I thought there were. There are ways to turn down the sound in Perfect Team for sure. Oh, maybe there isn't in base game. That's weird. Oh, you might be right, Mr. Dabalina. Oh yeah, there is in-game sound. You can disable it or enable it, but you can't adjust it, I guess. Yeah, so you can only disable it. You can't turn it down. Okay, that was weird. Did anyone else see those 35s for the Braves? I could have sworn these were 35s. Oh, the pack opening sounds are in Perfect Team, and in the Perfect Team menu, you can turn down the sound. I think it's in like 20% increments. I can't show you, or I'll have to exit this game. Okay, AW, it was 35, right? Okay, let's see if these projections are more accurate then. What a weird thing to. Okay, look, here it is again. Why is there stuff up? What? That is so weird. Coaching is off. Let me make sure player development is disabled. Let me look at their pictures. $86-45. Why does that? Because for the Angels. Oh wait, theirs is now 35 too. But theirs was 30 in the other one. What is happening here? That is so odd. And modifiers are off, so it's not like it's rating it relative to the majors. I, I did get so good at breaking the game, it's just breaking itself now. No, AW, that's what I was thinking with relative ratings, but the modifiers are off. So scouting accuracy, rating scale, relative to median MLB. So did we? Let me make sure recalc is still off. Yeah, auto calc is off. these are locked. But I think AW might be right. There's something about the scouting relative to the majors, and we've changed what's in the majors. But if anything, there are two teams that got higher stuff and one team that got no change. You would think that 30 would actually become a 25, not a 35. Let's see if we still have that same difference in the projections. Okay, this says low stuff will give up 882 versus 841. This says 858 versus 836. Okay, so they're a little closer now. But now it's because they're both 35. Before one was 30 and one was 35. That's so odd. Because now the Angels and the Braves are both. Okay, well, their raw ratings did work, so let's hope it works. I do think AW is probably right. It is something about the relative ratings. Because it's also weird. I mean, what the heck is this? Where it gives you it gives you a pull down menu, but it gives you one option. So it is saying it's relative to this league. What if I turn this off? What if I turn it off? Oh, we're back to 30. And now we're back to 30. Can we rerun the projections somehow? I don't think we can. But this is just a display thing because it's just displaying it, not relative. I mean, the absolute values are still what they were. Rick something says that that makes sense then maybe kind of in a way. I mean, because this feels like it's just semantics because the raw ratings are still the raw ratings. Okay, remember how I said I learned everything? I learned something unexpected in every sim. That's what's happening today. All right, well, let's see what happens. I mean, this is why we're doing this to see what happens. All right, let's start the sim. Oh, another thing I thought was interesting though. I don't know if you noticed, but the order changed. Before they were projecting low stuff to finish last. Now low movement is projected to finish last. This is why we no longer use standings. We used to try to run this and use standings as the metric for how important something is. Now we use runs scored and runs allowed. So I faced it. It almost feels weirder that relative to league, the low stuff's rating gets higher. Right, exactly. Yeah, so I face. That's what I was saying. If you do the arithmetic, there's one team that stuff was unchanged. There's two teams that stuff was increased. So that means the average of the league has gone up relative to the one team that got reduced. So that 30 should actually seem worse. So it should be a 25. Unless I'm misunderstanding how the relative to the league works. Right? Because the whole rest of the league is either stayed put or two teams have increased. Oh, you know what though? They only increased by 10 each. The one team decreased by 20. The other team stayed put. So then if the net is average, then maybe that 30 then it's weighted towards the middle, so it ends up at 35. That I could see. Yeah, if more percent 80 stuff, then it would go down. Okay. All right. That makes sense. It's that average. It's that team that stayed average that's bringing it up a little bit, I think. Because two teams increasing by 10 and one team decreasing by 20 should offset each other. But one team stayed put, so I guess that dragged it up. I still think it should have dragged it down, but you also like relative offer things like that. Yeah, I turned it off, but maybe I should have turned it off before the projections. I mean, in the end, it should sim as it's going to sim, so let's see what happens. Okay, our little two game sample. Low stuff is 0-2 and low movement is 0-2. But in the other league, everyone's 1-1, so not really a lot we can tell from that. The standing should give us a little hint of what might be happening, but really we need to wait to see the runs scored and runs allowed. Okay, these are kind of meaningless achievements, so let's just see what's happening here. Average. See, this is why we don't go by standings anymore. Average is in the bottom of the AL and the top of the NL. Low stuff, top of the AL. Low stuff, bottom of the NL. It's completely meaningless. Now, part of what's happening is we didn't change the bullpens. Do you have average bullpens potentially blowing saves or saving games? And so that's one thing that kind of waters down the impact of the starters. So it makes it a lot more coin flip dependent. All right, low movement at the bottom of the NL or AL by 10 games. Low stuff is at the bottom of the NL by 6 games. Interesting, low control is at the top of both leagues. Okay, let's sim the month of June. Blanderson's crushing. Oh, yeah, he is. Leading the league in average. Curtis Blanderson, leading the league in average, second in RBI, third in OPS. Okay, team control. Now, in the NL, is 9.5 games ahead. That feels significant, but is only 2 games ahead in the AL. Low movement is dead last in both leagues. Let's sim to the All-Star break. AW is pretty upset that Duck Bread was put on the low stuff team. All right, the highest All-Star vote getter was average infielder 2. All right, we have to sim one more game to get to the All-Star break. And heading to the All-Star break, low movement is last in the AL, but has moved up to second place in the NL. Low control still leading both leagues. All right, home run challenge. Now, there should be no one on this team from the low movement team. And the reason for that is the low movement team is giving out home runs to everyone else except their own team. So there should be no MO players here. Curtis Blanderson advances to the second round of the home run contest. Knocked out by average infielder one, who's reclaiming his relevance. Average infielder one, after being a hero for so long, felt a little forgotten lately, wins the home run contest. That's awesome. Average infielder one is back. Now, sometimes we can glean little bits of information from the All Star voting, right? Because which pitchers are in there, and also which batters are on there. Because if a team is overrepresented in batters, that means they're probably pitching the best because those batters are feasting on all the worst pitching teams. If that, it takes a while to kind of bend your brain into thinking this way, but see, like, so for example, if average, right? So this is like all average pitchers. If they're overrepresented, which they're not necessarily, but that means they will look like they're hitting better because if average team is pitching the best, they're hitting against all the worst pitching teams. But I'm not seeing any particular team being overrepresented here. And it's hard to draw conclusions from the All Star pitching voting because we know that's a little broken. Bobby Vanilla getting some votes at second base. All right, let's see who was actually selected. Do we see any patterns in the pitching staff? One, two, three, four, 5 pitchers out of 13. Okay, so one team out of 4 is a little overrepresented, so that might be a clue there. But I'm not really seeing any patterns that are jumping out at me like we do sometimes. Did Duckbread make the? Oh yeah, there's Duckbread made the All Star team at 7-9. Low stuffed Duckbread makes the All Star team. All right, well, let's sim the All Star game. Average outfielder 4 is the MVP. The neutral league wins 6-1. Jacob DeBum is the winner. Let's see how Curtis Blanderson did. Curtis Blanderson went 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. Did score a run. Bobby Vanilla went 0 for 1. Ken Iffy Jr. went 1 for 2. These are all community name players. Let's see how Duckbread did getting the win. Oh no, Jacob DeGum. Duckbread finished the game but was not in a save situation. Actually gave up 2 hits but held them scoreless. All right, let's go back to the simming. Oh, Bob Dabalina does find the names entertaining. That's awesome. Yeah, it's just a channel point redemption. Kayaking Santa actually redeemed a bunch, so when I fix the average league, we'll go ahead and get his names in there too. All right, we'll sim to the end of July. Team control is still on. Now this is deceptive though. It's in the lead in both, but tied in one and one game ahead in the other. Now the neutral league is very tight, but there is a double-digit gap between the top two in the AL and the slow stuff and low movement teams. All right, let's sim to the end of August. It's always interested me that the AL and the NL are identical. The players are identical, the changes they make are identical, yet the dynamics are almost always so different. Right? Like here, there's a double digit games behind break between second and third place. In the NL, the double digit break actually doesn't even happen. It's a 9 game break from third to fourth. All right, let's sim to the end of the season. Curtis Blanderson, third in the batting race. Second in the batting race. Third. Oh, a top second. All right, the end of September. 1 game left to go. Curtis Blanderson is 3 batting average points out of the batting title. And 3 RBI behind the RBI title. Second in OPS. Second in batter war. Where is Duckbread on the leaderboards here at all? Mr. Good. You know what? I still think when every time I see the Jerry Koosman card in a draft, I still think Jerry Koosboy because I think it was Smiley Face Jane who renamed Jerry, who named the pitcher Jerry Koosboy. I still think of Jerry Koosboy every time. It's so funny. All right, let's go to the postseason. Oh well, we need to finish the last day of the season. Got some batting titles won. Okay. Well, again, there's no rhyme or reason to the standings. This is why we rely on the stats. Right, Movement's dead last year, 22 games behind. Movement's first place here, 15 games ahead of last place. Right, Stuff is last place here, 15 games behind. Well, I guess Stuff is consistently double digits behind. That's one thing. But again, the standings don't tell us much. That was an early mistake I made, relying on the standings. So a lot of our simulations end up with like inconclusive. So then once I realized like there's too many coin flips in the standings, I think uh, our conclusions became better. All right, so let's watch the playoffs here. Average, the only team that made the playoffs on both sides. And of course, the Mets lose. Oh, both average teams advance to the finals. Again, this is a small sample size within a small sample size, though. All right. Well, the average Rangers beat the average Nationals. Let's look at some postseason awards. Oh, I forgot to change the mailbox settings. But I remembered in time. This hardly matters, but let's do this now. Okay, let's save the regular seasons over. Let's go back to the mailbox. And Great Glove Awards. Okay. Great Glove Awards. This won't tell us anything about, I think, the pitching. Reliever of the year, again, will not, because the relievers are still average. Platinum Stick Award might. Again, if a bunch come from one team, that team might be the best pitching team. So average, movement, average, control, movement, control, average. The only thing I'll say is stuff is missing. So stuff might be pitching pretty poorly if none of their batters are on here. In the other league, we have control, movement, stuff. Average, movement, control, stuff. So now stuff shows up here, so it's hard to tell. Rookie of the year. I don't think anyone's eligible because they're all the same age. Cy Young Award voting. Okay, now this is interesting. The top 3 vote getters and 3 of the top 6 are from average. Same in the other. So the average team does look like maybe it's pitching better than the other teams. That is an early indicator that it might be team average pitching the best. And then MVP. average, control, control. Now, this could be that well, hold on, my brain is falling apart here. What does it mean if low control is overrepresented in MVP voting? That means that hold on. If low control is hitting the best, that means okay. I give up. My brain is too tired. I can't remember what the conclusions are. Lots of average here at the bottom end of the voting, but low stuff and low movement are at the top of the voting. Curtis Blanderson second for MVP. That means the pitchers are good, right? Because they're facing pitchers that are bad. Thank you, AW. So yeah, this would indicate the average and the low control pitchers might be the best. Okay, so now let's go to the team stats. Oh, first let's go to the individual stats. And let's see if we see any patterns. Team average, team movement, team average, movement, average, movement. Well, that's wins. Let's look at how about ERA? Average, movement, average, control, average, movement. Okay, still not definitive. Check out the low control teams walking everybody. That's to be expected. What else can we see here? We don't have a team PBAB up here, so low PBAB, so that won't be a thing. All right, let's just go to the team stats and the team pitching stats. Runs allowed. Oh, why is this so cut off here? Looks like low control, low stuff, low movement. So we can at least we can see. Okay, runs. Runs allowed. Low movement gave up the most runs here, but second most here. Okay, I'm gonna have to do a spreadsheet, I think. I didn't want to have to do this, but I want to do a spreadsheet. I'll leave this up so you guys can see if you can draw any conclusions while I put a little pivot table together here. Do we care about the difference between earned runs and runs? Yes, Jeff the Jar. I did have to bust out the spreadsheets. That is true. Have you been lurking this whole time, or did you just get here? We care if the form says the form says runs. The form does say runs. Okay, I'm trying to get this filled out here. I'm tracking team names, league, innings, runs, and earned runs. And then runs 801, 704, 831, 897. Earned runs 768, 674, 800, 843. Okay. Let me put this up now. create a new scene for it. Okay. This is what it looks like. Why does it not like this? Oh, where am I putting it? Putting it right here. Okay, we want the rows to be teams. We want the values to be innings pitched, runs, earned runs. Okay. So, team movement gave up the most runs. Oh no, sorry. Team stuff. Team stuff gave up the most runs, followed by team movement, followed by team control. Team average gave up the fewest runs. So the run average would be the number of runs divided by the number of innings times 9. The ERA would be the number of earned runs divided by the number of innings times 9. And these should all just be 2 decimals. All right, so yeah, I guess having so the low stuff, high suppression, high control is the worst profile. And the low home run suppression is the second worst. And the best profile is the flat profile. Okay, I think we know what we need to know now for the pack giveaway. So let me get that ready. I'll unhide the Twitch IDs. I am actually very pleased at how this simulation went. Okay, so which team will surrender the fewest regular season runs? That was team average by a difference of 116. So Fox Hill, Smiley Face Jane, and AW definitely had the right intuition there. And then who will surrender the most? The most were surrendered by Team Slow Stuff. AW. AW, amazing. Doesn't show up for weeks at a time and then just reappears and wins the pack giveaway contest. Nicely done, AW. First place for you. 7 packs headed your way. Now, the next question is, what will be the lowest regular single team ERA? So let's go back to the game for that. So team ERA, so there's a 4.11 up here, 4.18 down here. The 4.18 was by team average, but this 4.11 was actually by team low control. So 4.11 is the correct answer. Let's see who was closest there. Of our 2 remaining contestants, it is Smiley Face Jane with 4.06. Fox Hill with a nice run, but beat out on the guess there by Smiley Face Jane. Very close guess. 4.11, 0.05 away from nailing that ERA exactly. Impressive. All right, let's look at the rest here. How many regular season home runs will be surrendered by the team giving up the most home runs? Surely that is a team movement, team low movement. 330 and 297, over 100 more than the next teams. So the most would be 330. Wow, only one person even gets 300 at all, and that was AW. What was the Major League average, like 198 or something? So 50% more than the... And this is just the starters have the bad movement. So just the starters have the bad movement increased by 50% over average. Wow. That's brutal. How many regular season strikeouts thrown by the team striking on those batters? Now, this should be anyone but a low stuff team. We have a 14-19 here. And a 14-48, both from low. Okay, so that's interesting. Why is team low movement striking out the most batters? Because they have the same stuff as team low control. Oh, I bet it's because the starters get tired because they throw too many walks. They go to the bullpen that has average stuff. So that lets team movement get more strikeouts because their high stuff starters stay in the game longer. Okay, so the answer is 1448. Oh my goodness, a super close guess here. 1442 by Clay Dog. 6 away. Impressive. Fufak says we need to repeat this with all the relievers meaning the starters. That could be done. The problem is the manipulation of the relievers is very different from the manipulation of the starters because they only have 2 pitches. Their stuff it calculates higher. But yeah, we could do that. But I mean, this has already been super illuminating. Now, if I'm playing creator roster or lowball, this definitely changes the way I pick pitchers. Right? Like if I'm playing lowball, give me those low stuff pitchers all day. And if I'm playing regular original creator roster and I'm stuck taking a pitcher at bench level, give me that flat profile. this is the kind of thing that like I really like because it helps me understand how to play the base game better and potentially how to play Perfect Team better. Now my one caveat is the base game engine is not the same as the Perfect Team engine. They're supposedly built on the same chassis and have a lot of similarities, but they're not identical. And AW may have more experience of that because he used to do a lot of analytics work with PBE. AW, did you guys ever do any analysis between like how similar or different the base game engine might be from the Perfect Team engine? Last question. How many regular season walks will be allowed? Now, this will be the low control team for sure. All right, low control gave up 875 and 831. So 875 is the answer. More than double the team giving up the fewest walks. Oh, this is the first time AW's been playing Perfect Team. Okay. 875. Wow, everyone's more than 100 away. AW's 98 away. Slifer James is 94 away. Right? Did I calculate that right? I think the meme helped Smiley Face Jane this time. I think it screwed over Clay Dog the other day, but I think it might have helped Smiley Face Jane today. Right, Smiley Face Jane is 94 off. I was right about that. And AW is 98 off. Yeah, Smiley Face Jane is the closest there. The meme pays off. So Smiley Face Jane getting 2 of the numericals right. And getting the ERA very close. Yeah, almost seems like she deserves first place more than AW does. But AW did get the questions right. AW, how much of this is your experience in PBE informing your intuition and your guesses? So you guess average team would be best and low stuff would be worst. Now, this will also be more applicable to create a roster because you're playing in a major league environment, which by definition should kind of even out to major league average, versus Perfect Team, where you have all these meta cards in play, which is definitely not average. And so an average profile might get crushed there. I don't know. But this is very much for. So your average team stuff is in you value stuff in your pitchers, so therefore you assume low stuff would get crushed. AW figured the average would be better, though with having all the decent attributes, there's one big flaw. Yeah, so I think the flaw avoidance is definitely the big thing there. I think that's right. And lots of balls in play is usually bad, especially when you have average fielding, I guess. Okay, well, I don't know. I thought this was super interesting, and I had a lot of fun. I hope the rest of you feel similarly. But for those of you who are relatively new to the stream and you've been watching us play a lot of these community games, like we did during the Marathon 200 anniversary celebration, we do a lot of that. But these experiments are actually kind of the core of what I started doing, which is just kind of doing things to test out how the game engine works. And so if you are new to the stream, like those community games are super fun, and I will always make them a big part of our stream. But tonight's stream is a much better representation of kind of what we normally do. I guess what we used to do before the community games became so popular. And that's not a complaint. I love that people want to play them. It's super fun. Um, and actually, what makes it fit with what I like to do with the base game is I really like hearing from people that they're doing tests to prepare for their runs on the stream, because that means they're playing the base game more, which I enjoy spreading the gospel of the base game. AW says if this is done in an older era, it probably looks way different. And I think that's true for most sims, right? That's why we sim these things in dead ball sometimes, just to see, what the differences might be. Oh, AW's gonna play a game night game. All right, AW, connect with me in Discord, and we'll figure out a day and a time. Thank you for redeeming those channel points. And for those of you who might be new to the stream, just like AW did, anyone can play any of our games. I'll put some of them up here on the screen for you. Let me, let's see. We've got 4 versions now of Create a Roster. You might have seen several people playing this on our marathon stream. This is where you submit a form letting you know what positions you want at Legend, Star, and Scrub level. And okay, have a good night, everybody. Congrats on the win, and thanks for popping in. It's good seeing you. And there are 4 different versions of this. There's the original, where you do this and you try to build the best team possible. Oh, I skipped a part. So let's say you want a legend level starting pitcher. We have the game generate 5 of them for you. You pick 1 to keep, and we toss the other 4. And you do that till your roster is done. The other versions of this are low ball, where you try to build the worst team possible, and we switch the number of legend and scrub. There's dead ball, which happens in 1910. It's a 25-man roster, so we take away 1 star level player. And it's dead ball era, so you only get to pick 4 starting pitchers, and you have to use a 4-man rotation. You could conceivably do a 3-man rotation, but we're trying to keep it consistent. And then we play low ball. You saw a couple people playing low ball. Oh, I said low ball already. The newest version is called Studs and Duds. This version finally worked out. I was able to get a 500 record with this team. Can you put together a team of 6 legend level players that are good enough to offset 10 bench level and 10 scrub level players? This is kind of like the cap tournament version of Create a Roster. And then we have a bunch of so those are all fictional player games. In fictional players imported into the 2023 Major League season. Now these other games all take place in historic Major League seasons. So you saw AW mentioned he wants to play Shopping Spree. This is where you pick any team in the free agency era. You go to the previous free agents class, and I have a link to Baseball Reference has free agent classes by year. And you get to sign any 7 of those free agents without regard for budget. So let's just say it was 2024 you're playing, right? You could pick Juan Soto, you could pick Pete Alonso, you could pick any one of these free agent players. You can add them to your team. Force 4 Trades is the first one I I streamed, that's where in the season you chose. So let's say I picked the 1986 Mets. I can choose any four teams in 1986 and make them trade me whichever player I choose from their team. And I can send them back any piece of garbage I want. Uh, Peak performances is where I could take any five players on my team and replace them with whatever I think is the best season they ever had. So this is really good if you like a team, a historic team that had a mix of washed up veterans and future stars. Or I was thinking about doing this with the 62 Mets because they were just a team of washed up veterans whose teams didn't protect them in the expansion draft. Right, so that would be a fun one to do. And then Major League Farm Team is where you choose any other team in the majors that season. And you basically get to treat them like your farm team, and you can take any six of their players, and then you can send down to them any six of players you want to demote. And the reason the numbers increase as you go from game to game is forcing four trades from any team is pretty powerful. Because you get to choose any player on any team as long as you don't duplicate them. You can also pick three teams in your division if you want to increase your chance of making the playoffs. But basically, you're going to end up with four of the best players in the league that year. With peak performances, you get one extra player because you're limited in choosing from your current roster. Now, granted, you can go pick and choose any season of their career, but your kind of selection set is limited to 26 players, 25 depending on the era. Major League Farm Team, you get yet another pick because there will definitely be diminishing returns as you pick the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth players from the same team. Right? Very few teams have that many really good players. So by the time you get to the fifth and sixth players, you might be picking role players. And then shopping spree, you get the most because you're limited to whoever was a free agent that season. And if you look at a lot of free agent classes, there are very few Juan Sotos, players in their prime, looking to cash in. There are a lot more players towards the end of their careers who are looking for like one last payday. So any of these games are up for grabs. It's just a channel point redemption. And so as you saw AW redeem those points, he's going to play shopping spree someday coming up. Jeff Thoreau said, if only Lee... Oh, because you want to do the spiders, right? Jeff also wants to play farm team with the 99 spiders, but the league creation is still funky. Yeah, that's a little disappointing. You should mention that in the forums to the developers. Maybe that's something they can fix in PT20 OOTP 26. All right, well, I think that's about it for our stream tonight. Smileyface Jane, if you're still on, are you thinking about streaming tonight? Oh, Smileyface Jane is on. Okay, this is a treat for everybody. Tonight we are raiding into Smileyface Jane, who will be streaming tonight. I am a big proponent of supporting streamers who stream OTP, even if they're not affiliates. I'm a big fan of AW. Oh, Fufak, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of Kayaking Santa. And, of course, I'm a big fan of our perfect team GOAT, Smileyface Jane, who has just come in and just started dominating all aspects of perfect team. So I am excited to see what Smileyface Jane is going to share with us in terms of what kind of content, whatever it is. I'm sure it'll help us all become better perfect team players. So we're gonna all send you all over to Smiley Face Jane. Oh, and I will be streaming again tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. I'll be off tomorrow because of New Year's. I will be streaming the following day again at the usual time, 10 p.m. Pacific time. I might pop on during the day to rip some packs or something, but yeah, I will be off tomorrow night.